In the heart of the Indo-Pacific, a remote archipelago is transforming from a quiet outpost into a strategic powerhouse. Welcome to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, India's unsinkable aircraft carrier. As New Delhi shifts from a look east to an act east policy, it is militarizing this fulcrum to counter China's expanding footprint in the Indian Ocean. The goal: to master the Malacca dilemma. Why does this tiny stretch of water matter so much? Because the Malacca Strait is the world's economic funnel. Over 60,000 vessels pass through here annually. It carries 40% of all global trade. For China, it's a massive vulnerability, as 80% of its oil imports traverse this single route. In 2003, then-President Hu Jintao coined the term Malacca Dilemma, the fear that certain powers could control this navigation and strangle China's energy supply. Beijing's response has been a mix of mitigation and, some argue, a bluff. They are building overland pipelines through Pakistan and Myanmar to bypass the strait. However, maritime transport remains cheaper and higher volume. Some analysts believe Beijing exaggerates this vulnerability just to justify their naval expansion into the Indian Ocean. Geography is destiny, and India holds the high ground. While the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are politically Indian, they are geographically Southeast Asian. Stretching 750 km from north to south, this archipelago grants India command over the western approaches to the Malacca Strait. From the 10-degree channel to the critical deepwater entry at the 6-degree channel, India effectively dominates the sea lines of communication. To manage this, India established the Andaman and Nicobar Command, ANC, in 2001, the only integrated theatre command in the Indian Armed Forces. The ANC is a four-pronged shield. Sea, utilizing Cora-class corvettes and amphibious vessels. Air, deploying Mi-17 helicopters and maritime patrol aircraft. Land, supported by the 108th Infantry Brigade. Coast Guard for constant policing and rescue. It has moved from a static fortress concept to a dynamic hub for rapid power projection. But you can't hit what you can't see. India is turning the ocean transparent. Through a collaboration with the US and Japan, India utilizes the Fishhook SOSUS network, a chain of underwater sensors designed to detect Chinese submarine movements. This is supported by P-8I Poseidon submarine hunters based right on the islands. This transparency is vital, especially after increased incursions by Chinese underwater drones and subs in 2020. The islands are moving from outposts to launch pads. India is extending runways to 10,000 feet at INS Bars and INS Kohasa to host heavy fighters like the Su-30 MKI. Plans are also in place for shore-based BrahMos missile batteries and upgraded jetties to host large landing platform docks for expeditionary warfare. It's not just about missiles, it's about money. The $9 billion Great Nicobar project aims to create a new Singapore. By building the Galathea Bay transshipment port directly on the 6-degree channel, India hopes to capture revenue currently lost to Colombo and Singapore. The plan includes a dual-use international airport, a massive power plant, and a township for 400,000 residents. This is a high-stakes game of maritime chess. China has its string of pearls, a series of dual-use ports like Gwadar and Hambantota to encircle India. India is countering with an iron curtain. The Andaman Islands act as a barrier, cutting off China's pearls from their homeland, while India builds its own necklace of diamonds by leveraging partner ports in places like Oman, Indonesia, and Singapore. India isn't acting alone. The Quad India, the US, Japan, and Australia acts as a massive force multiplier. Agreements like LEMOA allow US Navy ships to refuel at the islands. Meanwhile, Australia's Cocos Islands and India's Andamans form a coordinated surveillance arc across the Indian Ocean. But the threat is active and grey. We've seen spy balloon sightings in 2022 and GPS spoofing attacks on Indian aircraft as recently as April 2025. Chinese survey vessels are constantly mapping the seabed for submarine operations, and a Chinese SIGINT facility now sits just 40 km away on Myanmar's Coco Islands. India's vision for 2047 is to be the primary guarantor of safety in the Indian Ocean, but this ambition comes with a cost. The Great Nicobar project requires the destruction of 130 square kilometers of rainforest and threatens the nesting sites of giant leatherback turtles. There is also the security dilemma. Militarization might provoke the very aggressive Chinese countermeasures India is trying to prevent. As Alfred Thayer Mahan once said, whoever controls the Indian Ocean will dominate Asia. India has moved from passive observation to active deterrence. By holding the keys to the Malacca Strait, India now holds a veto over the region's economic lifeline.